Hello, good morning dear students and welcome back to our lesson that is life processes, and we were talking about transportation in plants and into the human beings. Okay, so how the transportation of various things occurs into the human beings. We have seen along with the heart as well as the blood vessels and blood, which is a medium to carry all the things which are present into the blood or the things which has to be transported to the particular part that we have seen. So in today's class we are going to talk about transportation in plants. Okay, how does the transportation is taking place into the plants, that we will see in our today's video. Okay. So what has to be transported? First of all, the very important thing here is that into the plant, what has to be transported? Students, we are knowing plants are undergoing the process of photosynthesis. Okay, means what? They are preparing their own food with the help of water, right? Water as well as carbon dioxide, and sunlight is needed for the process of photosynthesis, as well as chlorophyll is also needed. But the raw material which is needed for the plant, that is what? Water. And how it is being transported, that we will see. See, the photosynthesis process is taking place into the leaves of the plant. Okay, we are knowing, students, the root system and the shoot system is present into the plants. So the water is carries from the root to the tip of the plant or to the leaf of the plant. Whatever the water has to be transported, that water will get transported from the soil with the help of the root, and from the root it will be transported to the leaves of the plants. Here for the photosynthesis process, water is needed. Understood? But student, how it can be transported? If the plant will be very small, if the plant is very small, means a small plant if it would be there, then simple diffusion process can fulfill the demand of water. Understood? Means if the plant would be very small, then the water can be transported or the water can be supplied to the leaves of the plant for the process of photosynthesis by simple diffusion process. Okay, but the problem would come if the plant would be very tall, like coconut, like mango tree or banyan tree. If the plant would be very tall, then only simple diffusion process cannot fulfill the demand of water for the process of photosynthesis. Then what technique the water can be followed? What technique how the water would take how the water would take by the plant, that we will see here. So in transportation system, water will be transported. Water transport will be done by a specific kind of tissues, and those tissues are called as xylem tissues. Okay, these tissues are called as xylem tissue. The name of that tissue which are transported water from the root to the tip of the plant is called as xylem tissue. And this xylem tissue are mainly made up of vessels and tracheae. These are made up of vessels and tracheae. These xylem vessels and tracheae are like elongated tubes, and which provides the column for the water to transport. These are like this. The water is moving like this from the root of the plant to the tip of the plant or to the leaves of the plant. So the xylem, the components of the xylem tissues are mainly vessels and tracheae, which are helping in the transportation of the water. So these are actually the elongated tubes, and which provide a column for the water transport. Okay, what it does? Which provide column for water transport. Okay, which provide the column for the water transport. Means through this the water is getting transported. Understood? But which two theories plants are utilizing to absorb this water or for the section of the water. So there are mainly two theories through which the plants are absorbing water. What are those? Those are, first is what? Root pressure. First is what? Root pressure. Now what is meant by root pressure? See students, suppose this is the plant and these are the plant and it has a leaves, okay? And these leaves will undergo the process of photosynthesis. Means photosynthesis process will take place into the leaves. Whereas here the roots are present and into the roots are inserted into the soil, students. Into the soil the minerals or nutrients are present. Minerals and nutrients are present as well as water is also present. But whenever the plant will absorb water, that time what happens? The first minerals will be absorbed. Minerals would be absorbed and water particles will be still into the soil. Now we are knowing, student, the process of osmosis, the movement of water from high concentration to the low concentration is called as what? Osmosis. So through osmosis process, the water particles along with these minerals will be transported into the upward direction with the help of phloem tissue. With the help of phloem tissue, that is tracheids and vessels, that is what? Providing a column for the water in the upward direction, and the flow of the xylem tissue. Sorry student, that is xylem tissue, and the xylem tissue is only into the one direction, is moving into the upward direction. I hope you have understood what happens here, students. The minerals and nutrients along with the water present into the soil. But first, the root will absorb the minerals and water particles will be into the soil. So, the movement of the water particle from the higher concentration to the lower concentration would take place, and in this manner, along with this mineral also, the water will get transported from the soil or from the root to the tip of the plant or to the leaves of the plant, and that process is called as what? Root pressure. But this is possible into the only smaller plants. This root pressure can fulfill the demand of the water only into the smaller plant. Understood? Then what happened into the tall plant like a coconut or banyan tree or a mango tree? What technique the plant has to follow to absorb the water? The technique the plant has to follow, that is transpiration pull. That is what, student? Transpiration pull. That is what? Second, transpiration pull. Now here what would happen, students? Here the plant would be there, the root would be there inserted into the soil, and the water will be absorbed. That water will be absorbed by the process of transpiration, because the water has to work against the gravity. Water has to be pulled from the ground or from the soil to the leaves of the plant, so that plants are in need of one technique, because that work has to do against the gravity, and because of that the transpiration process will be followed. What is meant by transpiration? The process means if the excess water would be present, then the loss of excess water from the plant through the stomata of the leaves is called as transpiration. Okay, the loss of excess water from the transpiration. The loss of excess water, loss of excess water through the aerial parts of the plant such as leaves transpiration process, okay, or transpiration pull, okay. The first method I said you, root pressure, and the second is what, transpiration pull. This transpiration pull is actually helpful because what it happens, it creates a suction for the water, okay, which is present into the soil with the help of the root, okay, because roots are absorbing the water. So that water is carried out with the help of tracheids and vessels, which are the important component of the xylem tissue. So through that water is getting absorbed, okay, and not only water, along with some minerals are also present. Those minerals are also getting absorbed through the soil or through the root to the tip of the plant. Understood? So this is actually creates a suction and which is helpful into the tall plants, okay. So this is all about the transpiration pull. What is the importance of this transpiration pull? It can lose the excess water which is present into the plant, okay, and that excess water it is losing with the help of the stomata. Stomata is the small pore through which the gaseous exchange is also taking place, as well as the transpiration process is also taking place. And so that this transpiration process is continuously going on, and because of that all parts of the plant, all the leaves of the plant which are in need of the water for the process of photosynthesis is possible because of the transpiration pull, and this transpiration pull is mostly possible into the taller plants like coconut, mango and all, okay. Huge plants, this transpiration process is possible, okay. So what is the importance of this transpiration process? Importance, if we will talk about transpiration process, then the first importance of the transpiration process is what? Loss of excess water, okay. Excess water is not accumulated into the parts of the plant, and so that the plant may decay. So to avoid it, the loss of excess water through stomatal pore, okay, stomatal pore. Students, about stomata I have talked a lot. I said you which is present at the lower surface or the lower epidermis of the leaf. Understood? So this is one important. And second, or it creates a suction for the plant, and that suction is exactly equal to when we drink water or any juice or any beverages. Any drink, when we drink it with the help of the straw, the same process is taking place here into the transpiration pool, okay. Absorption of water along with important minerals. Absorption of water along with important minerals, okay. Minerals are dissolved into the soil, and those minerals are getting absorbed through the water, okay. Now we will talk which is the main event which is taking place into the daytime, or which is more prevalent into the daytime. Students, we are knowing for the photosynthesis process, the water is needed, and as the stomatal pore is open during the daytime, so during the daytime transpiration pull is the major event. Understood? During the daytime transpiration pull is the major event. Why? Because of the process of photosynthesis. Means plant has to undergo the process of photosynthesis, and for the photosynthesis plant is in need of water, and as the stomatal pore is open in the daytime for the gaseous exchange, so that time transpiration pull is the major event. Understood? And at night, as stomatal pore is closed because there is no photosynthesis, so that the root pressure is the major event at the night time. So I can say daytime which is the major event? Transpiration pull. Transpiration pull. And night-time root pressure. Night-time root pressure. Understood, students? So this is all about the transpiration, which is done with the help of a xylem tissues. These xylem tissues are water conducting tissues, and the two main components of the xylem tissues are tracheids and the vessels. Now we will talk about how the food is getting transported from the leaves to other parts of the plant body. See here, students, the transport of food, nutrient, or what is present? Sucrose. Sucrose is present. This sucrose is transported with the help of phloem tissue to the parts of the plant such as fruit, root, and stem. Fruit is in need of more food, right? Because fruit contains more amount of food in it. So whatever the food is prepared, whatever the nutrients are prepared into the plants, those nutrients will carry from the leaves to the plant, into the plants wherever it is needed. So in the fruit it is needed, into the root means sweet potato is the root which contains a large amount of food. So here the amount of sucrose or amount of glucose must be more, so that food is getting transported with the help of the phloem tissue. Stem, underground stem we are going, student, or sugar cane is also the example of a stem which is above the ground, but underground stem is our potato. So here in somewhere the food is needed or the food is stored. Here the transfer of the food is taking place from the leaves to those parts, and that process is called this process is called translocation. This process is called translocation. Transport of food from the leaves to the other parts of the plant body, or wherever it is necessary, that is called as what? Translocation process, which is done by the phloem tissue. Now what are the components of the phloem tissue, students? Which two components are necessary for the phloem tissue to carry the food? The phloem tissue which helpful, that is sieve tubes and companion cells. These two are the major component of the phloem tissue through which the food is getting transported. Now we will see how exactly the food is getting transported. See students, as I said you, in our body the blood is the medium to carry all the nutrients, hormones, then excretory product of the body are carried with the help of the blood. So here also, to carry the food which is prepared into the leaves to all parts of the plant body, one medium is needed, and that medium is water. Understood? So if suppose this is the xylem tissue, right? And suppose these are the sieve tubes. These are the sieve tubes which are the part of the phloem tissue, and suppose these are the companion cells, and these companion cells contain food material. Okay. Now this sieve tubes contains very less amount of food material, which is the important part of the phloem tissue. Now, the food will get transferred from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Okay, from higher concentration to the lower concentration here. As well as sometimes here also the higher concentration would be there. Here also sometimes higher concentration would be there. If all the two places higher concentration would be there, then the transportation would take place. That is called as what? Active transportation. Active transportation. Active transportation means the food or the food which is prepared, that food has to travel from the lower concentration to the higher concentration, lower concentration to the higher concentration, and so that ATP is needed, ATP which is present into the mitochondria, which is called as energy currency of the body. Because it is active transportation, we are in need for this transportation a large amount of energy, and that energy is taken from the ATP molecule. Understood? So that transportation is called as active transportation. Through active transportation from the companion cells, these are the companion cells. From the companion cells, the food will transfer into the sieve tubes, and once the food would enter into the sieve tubes, then this contains the xylem, which contains water. Now, water will move from high concentration to the low concentration. As water is more into the xylem tissue and into the sieve tubes, there is no water. And we are knowing, student, osmosis means what? Osmosis means what? The movement of water from the high concentration to the low concentration. So water which is present into the xylem tissue, that water will move into the sieve tubes, and once it will enter into the sieve tubes, along with the water, this food will get transferred to the desired part of the plant. In this manner, the phloem would transfer the food. So I hope you understand the concept of the translocation of food, which part of the plant are needed in it, and which part of the phloem tissue helps in it, what is meant by active transportation, or how ATP is needed in that. I hope you have understood, and how the water is performing the role of a medium to transport all this material to the desired part. So I have completed here the transportation in plants. If you have any doubt, you may ask me into the class. Thank you so much.